What's going on? PokeWelder Zach here, bringing you the world of Pokemon through the medium of metal. Let's get to it. Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl have just released, so in celebration, we're going to dedicate today's video to the Sinnoh Starters, Turtwig, Chimchar, and Piplup. I'm going to introduce each one of them and then dive into their designs a little bit. So, if you're ready, let's get to it.
Turtwig belongs to the tiny leaf category, although he should also belong to the turtle category, seeing that he is in fact a tiny, green, little, adorable, grassy turtle. On top of that, Turtwig can photosynthesize across his entire body, and the shell on its back is actually hardened soil. He is a grass type, making him weak to fire, flying, ice, poison, and bug, and his evolutions are into Grottle and then Torterra. As far as Turtwig's personality goes, he's quite the shy little turtle and mostly just enjoys keeping to himself and playing around in the dirt, which you will see is very apparent when we get further into his design and get into his close-ups. He has a nice layer of weld dust and dirt accumulating on his legs. So with that brief overview of Turtwig, let's dive into his design just a little bit more. Turtwig's head is made up of his large cranium, beady but adorable eyes, and a big old nom-nom jaw. These parts are made from small engine parts as well as sheet metal and the ends of bolts for the outside of his jaw. Turtwig's shell was initially outlined using bike chains and then filled in again with small circular engine parts. There was a final bit of sheet metal liner that went around his shell to finish it off because the bike chains didn't have quite the look that I was looking for. Turtwig's tail was made from a small triangular piece of scrap metal, whereas his legs were made from bolts. To wrap up, the final part of Turtwig's design is his head plant. The base of the head plant and the leaves were both made from cut out sheet metal, whereas the stem was made from an old nail. That wraps it up for Turtwig, so let's get on to meeting Chimchar. Here we have Chimchar, who, unlike Turtwig, is appropriately placed in the chimp category, seeing that she is a little fire monkey. Now, one of Chimchar's more prevalent characteristics is her fiery rear end, which is fueled by a gas made in her belly that not even rain can extinguish. Chimchar is a fire type, making her weaknesses water, ground, and rock. Additionally, her evolutions are Monferno and then Infernate. Now for this specific Chimchar, she is a fashionista who can often be found either rooting through a pile of clothes looking for a new outfit, putting on a runway show, or sneaking around corners and hanging out listening for the latest gossip. So, now that you know a little bit about Chimchar, let's dive into her design. First off, we're going to dive into the design of the face. Now, initially it was framed out using bike chains, but then was shaped using primarily sheet metal for the top part of the face and for the bottom part of the face. Additionally, the eyes were also cut from sheet metal, and as you can see, the tuft on the top of the head is still painted bike chains. We now move to the main body, and as you can see, the belly of Chimchar was also made from sheet metal with an engraved swirl, which was then colored in with a paint pen. The arms and legs were made from fencing material and shaped bolts, respectively. We will now zoom in for a side view of the head where you can get a better look at Chimchar's ears, which were actually made from pliers that were cut and crafted. You will also see the tuft on the top of the head and the back of the head where the shaping came from bike chains. We now zoom into the main body, and again you can see how the chains were crafted in a slightly different form to shape up the side of Chimchar's body, still trying to give it the lean shape while filling in the material. You will also notice a definition on lefty and righty, which were made from some thicker wires, and a brief glimpse at Chimchar's fiery bootay. We'll now get a little bit of a closer look at that fiery bootay, which was actually made from taking a bunch of pieces of sliced up sheet metal and just making additional slices, cuts, bending them, twisting them, and welding them together at the base to try to get a semi-natural fiery appearance to them. We zoom in one more time for Chimchar to say goodbye with a wave from righty. So there you have it. There is Chimchar. We will now jump over to Piplup. Piplup, appropriately categorized as a penguin, is a very proud and independent Pokemon, often preferring cooler weather and always staying warm due to its thick down. Piplup is a water type, meaning its weaknesses are grass and electric. Additionally, its evolutions are Prinplup and then Empoleon. As for our particular friend Piplup here, this Piplup in particular loves to eat and loves to read. He often sticks to himself and can pretty much always be found reading a book with a snack in his hand. So, now that you know a little bit more about him, let's jump into his design. This front shot of Piplup clearly shows his more defining features, being his typically white face and his little blue crown down thingy on his head. Now you can see his eyes again are made from sheet metal, similar to the other Pokemon, and his white facial structure is actually made from a few washers that were welded together. One of Piplup's other very defining features is his little bib and strappy dot things. In this case, they are more strap-like, as it was the parts that I had to work with. But his bib was also made from washers with some other scrap pieces welded on top to help shape it. The fins, as you can see, were made from bolts that were shaped using an angle grinder. And of course, we can't leave off his belly, but we'll get more to that later. As we get a side view of the head, we can see his little picky pecker bolt beak, which again was made from a bolt that was shaped using the angle grinder as well as tacking some additional material onto the end. Piplup's head was the bane of my Saturday morning. It was extraordinarily difficult because I did not have any spherical parts, so I had to shape it using sheet metal. However, the thinnest sheet metal typically burned through, and everything else was a little bit harder to work with, but eventually got it to work. We can also sort of see the end of Piplup's down coat. We now move down to, of course, Piplup's big old round little belly. Like I said, he likes to eat, so it's pretty clear. And he's got his little feetsies, which were also made from the head of a bolt. We will briefly get a roundabout view of his coattails now to finish off his major designs. So there you have it, Piplup, the eating, reading, belly bulging, absolutely adorable, rotund little Pokemon that we all love.
Now that you've gotten to know our starters a little bit better, which one will you be using for your playthrough of Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl? Or which one is your favorite? Comment down below, and while you're there, give me a like if you enjoyed this video. That's all I got for you today, so until next time, And as a last minute reminder, there will be time-lapse video for all 3 starters coming out soon. Stay tuned!